For USA Radio News, I'm Tim Berg.
The following is an America Matters media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
This is not America. Sha-la-la-la-la. Little piece of you.
Hey, welcome to Talking Truth to Power, America's Freedom Talk Radio. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor, and my co-host, Leland Faegre.
And this is not an encore performance.
No, this is live.
We're live. We are live.
Yep.
Live radio, matter of fact. This stuff happens, huh?
Yes.
What the heck happened last week?
I'm not sure.
That was the voice of Shannibal Lawson, who's on working on our boards today. Well, you know, we can't really begin the show with anything else except the terrible tragedy in Uvalde, Texas, in the Robb Elementary School, where the some kind of deranged 18-year-old went in there and massacred approximately 20 children and 2 teachers.
And before he did that, he was busy slaughtering cats.
Felines. Yeah, and he shot his grandmother right before that.
Which is a common theme of these monsters. They don't like four-legged creatures, and they test their skills on these innocent creatures before they kill us, before they came after us. And it took 19 of these school-age 4th graders in order to kill this guy. That's what it took.
Yeah, exactly.
They're heroes, you know.
Yes. But not the police. The Uvalde School District Police is lawyering up. They're refusing to cooperate anymore with the Texas Public Safety investigation of what happened because, as you are undoubtedly aware, but we have to mention it and give our condolences to the families and of course, our sorrow over what happened to the children. You had 19 grown men standing around for an hour, heavily armed, and they refused to enter the classroom and take down the shooter or try to save some of the children. And the details are just horrific.
Yeah, they're just almost unrepeatable.
Yes.
I don't even like to think about it at all. But, you know, this mayor was sworn in the Uvalde School District police as... See, how did that work? Was he police chief before he became a council member?
I think so, yes.
Okay. And so now he has even more authority than he did previously. And he's not going to cooperate.
Yeah. And he's at one point he was under police protection. He's probably in a safe house somewhere because the people are so mad about him.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, they just had active shooter training 8 weeks before the incident.
Right.
And they absolutely did not perform according to their manual and their protocols. Instead, they formed a perimeter like Columbine in 1999 or Parkland in 2018. And, you know, that tactic was supposed to be abandoned. Even if there's only one cop on the scene, according to the protocol, he's supposed to run to the gun.
Well, to be fair, and in their defense, this hardly ever happens.
Yeah.
So they didn't know what to do.
I see you smiling, but
well, I mean, I can't believe there's any schools left. We should be taking our kids out of these institutions.
Yeah, that's true.
And then they wouldn't have anything to do. They'd have to find some other safe zone, gun-free zone, in order to shoot up. You know, we got to eliminate these gun-free zones. Is what we have to do.
Well, the kids will be traumatized if they see their teacher wearing a gun.
Yeah. Well, there's that side of it as well. I mean, you don't really want to send your kids to an institution that looks like that.
Right.
But until we can get rid of the damn things, we don't really have a choice.
And you don't want to see TSA like Magnum monitors or security guards all over the place, frisking the kids' luggage. When you put the cops in the schools, they often do, you know, mostly all they do is harass the kids and send them and arrest 9 and 10-year-olds for doing something wrong in school.
Well, they arrested a 10-year-old in Florida
yesterday. Yeah.
for making an online threat to a public school. So, yeah, the list goes on, and unless we learn our lesson, I mean, I don't have any kids, but I wouldn't ever send my child to an institution like that, unless you have no other option, and even then, you might not want to do it.
Well, to be realistic, there's a lot of propaganda about this incident. In other words, you're going to hear this was the 27th mass school shooting this year. That's not true. There have only been 13 real mass shootings in the last 50 years. The 26 other school shootings were shootings with 4 or more people involved, but on school property, not in the school, not incidental to the school curriculum. In other words, arguments in the parking lot or at a ball game or something like that, where somebody pulls a gun. And a school shooting is even more expansive. If it just says how many school shootings, that can mean just an accidental discharge or a stray bullet that lands on school property. So you got to be careful about these statistics.
And what did Tucker say last night on his show about Ramos spending twice the amount of money he should have? Or
right. Where did he get the money?
Yeah, well, he was working at a Wendy's.
How did he get into
Because everybody knows that's where you know.
Yeah, that's how you earn the money to get a $2,000. He paid well over the actual price.
More than he should. And I was just stepping in when he was mentioning that on his segment, and I didn't understand what he was driving at. What was the difference between what he paid and what he should have paid?
Right.
Do you?
I think they run for around 600. You can get a AR-15. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is way too much. So obviously didn't have any financial acumen among his other gifts.
So and then that's just a week after the other shooting in the Buffalo supermarket parking lot. But this was not racist. Now, what's causing all this? If you take apart the guns, because most people, I think what they may do is try to do 18-year-olds can only have like a single-shot rifle, like a bolt-action rifle, and no semi-automatic weapons, maybe a revolver or a bolt-action rifle.
So we reduce the number of casualties by 50% or something.
I don't know what it would be. You know, I did have to crunch the numbers on that.
Heaven knows they're still not getting at the root of the problem.
Right. And besides, if you're 18-year-olds, you could serve in the Army, but so why shouldn't you be able to carry it?
And in some states can bring.
Yes. Welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Brendan Trainor. I'm here with Leland Faegre, and we were talking about the Uvalde, Texas shooting, and we were talking about some of the non-gun causes. And one, of course, was mental illness fueled by the lockdowns that we've all experienced, driving some young people crazy. The U.S. has the highest rated prescription psychotropic drugs. We don't know whether this young man, Ramos, had that or not.
We don't know yet, but all of the other ones were committed by psychotropically infected. I say infected because that's what they do.
There's the breakdown of the family structure again.
Yeah, exactly.
No father in the house.
Which is the root cause.
Yeah.
Fatherless children.
Right.
The usual suspect.
All right. Do you want to go here? Ta-da.
Probably.
MK Ultra type mind control.
Oh, wow.
Is this a false flag, as Alex Jones would say? Are they trying to push gun control or some other agenda?
It does lend itself to that kind of thinking, but then I'm conspiratorially minded. So,
well, we have another very conspiratorial type of outfit that met in Switzerland this week, and that was the Davos crowd. the futuristic people that want to combine human beings with computers and create a whole new world.
It's upstaged at the Bilderberg conferences.
Yes.
Which used to be the highlight of the elitism and internationalism.
Right.
But apparently these days it's the World Economic Forum with my buddy Klaus.
Klaus. And he's such a weird-looking figure. I mean, they wear these Star Trek-type outfits,
It's like the Masons.
Yeah.
You know, it's symbolic of that kind of
And he has that scepter that he holds in his hand.
Because they're powerful people.
So,
but you know, the Bilderbergs are set for their conference this month. And you know where it's going to be this year?
What is it?
In Sierra City. Just right over here. It's a short drive from Reno.
Oh, really?
Isn't that interesting? It's generally in Europe, but
they're bringing it to
the Sierras. Because you know why? It is the perfect place with trees and beautiful mountains. And unfortunately, it's also far away enough to confuse Alex Jones.
Well, I was just thinking because Jones is the one that was always talking about the Bohemian Grove and all the elites get there for wild orgies and stuff.
But they never get out this way.
Human sacrifice.
For a Bilderberg. But guess who is apparently buried here, which has just come to light recently.
Buried in Sierra City?
Yeah, at the what they describe as the Harrington Sierra Pines Resort. Adolf Hitler.
Come on.
That's what it says. The recently uncovered secret script that apparently he was not exiled or found in Uruguay or Paraguay or South America or anywhere like that, but buried, his ashes are found in this elite Sierra foothill community. So this is what I'm reading here. So not that you can believe everything you read. But
yeah, I guess not. But I mean, maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean,
but that's the reason they have apparently selected this particular site, according to this gentleman who's describing the Bilderberg meeting, which is this month, beginning this month.
Yeah. So is Jimmy Hoffa buried?
Someone should tell Fox News.
Yeah, send Araldo out to investigate.
Who's that little spineless guy who's on the weekends on Fox News that's now carrying the ball on that story? You've seen, what's his name? The guy with the glasses.
Oh,
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah, who knows? So, you know, the problem is that how can we get a handle on this? Did I mention that?
By we, you mean?
Yeah, the people.
Us, yeah.
Yeah, on Davos. What exactly is their agenda? We don't know, but
well, we do know.
You know, but I know what makes Klaus Schwab mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Among other things.
Yeah. What makes Klaus Schwab mad? Poor Klaus.
Vaccine movements and conspiracy people.
Oh, that's what makes him mad.
Conspiracy people?
Conspiracy people.
Like me.
Like you and me. But if they were so
is built by us.
Yeah, that's what he also says. The future is built by us.
Well, they believe that for sure.
Yeah. Right. And he has this...
they want to measure our carbon footprint individually.
Yes, that's right. They're going to have an app. Everything is an app.
Everything's on your cell phone.
Yep. So that you're going to be able to measure your carbon footprint, how much you're disturbing the quiet enjoyment of the universe by emitting carbon dioxide.
Even though carbon dioxide is good for the planet.
Yeah. Does anybody really care if Miami's underwater in 100 years?
Nobody that's alive today would care.
Yeah, exactly. they have a supposedly supposed to be all upset about things that are going to happen a century from now, or things that are happening halfway across the world that really don't affect us. But what's happening in our own backyard, never mind. We can't fix that, or we don't notice that, or
it's somebody else's problem.
It's somebody else's problem. Yeah. Let me give you a phone number. You could call them.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. It's an 800 number.
So Ukraine Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
Called Ukraine.
Yeah.
I like how she says that.
That's not who we are.
It's just called Ukraine. It's not really Ukraine. God, she should be, if at anything, should be on a school board, not vice president of the United States.
Right. So what's scary about Klaus and this gang is what we hear from the WHO, the World Health Organization, that they want to have an international pandemic treaty tied to a digital passport, digital ID system.
Global health.
Yeah. The therapeutic state.
We never will assign that to national governments anymore. That'll be held at the United Nations level. That's the plan.
Right. So legally binding member states. Now, the thing is, the U.S. kind of wants something like this.
Sure they do.
Because, well, the establishment, even if you just consider the surface plans of the establishment, they would like it because then they think they can use it to beat up on people we don't like China. I mean, if there was a international standard and we thought that China wasn't living up to it, we could use the WHO to beat up on China. But
that is
right now, the WHO is practically owned by China.
Yeah, that's fanciful. At best, it's not going to happen that way.
Yeah. But, of course, we don't want any liability to come back to us and our vaccine manufacturers whom we shield from all liability.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's, we have to let them work without being accountable because
otherwise they might not produce these vaccines for us.
Life-saving vaccines. So we don't know where that's going to go. It's something to keep on our radar, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that are. But
well, I think they're getting their feet wet with this globalism as it entangles the planet Earth, as it entangles civilization. And they're going to do it through health. And that really would be the back door in, wouldn't it? Because everybody wants...
Don't forget ecology.
Yeah, everybody... That's the other one.
Ecology's still
everybody
on the table.
Wants clean air and clean water.
Right.
And they want to be healthy as they live their lives.
It's a human right to be healthy.
Absolutely.
They're really criticizing science.
Yeah.
Because I represent science.
Did you see he was doing research on the monkeypox as well?
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
But, Bill Gates is always one step ahead.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be a famine, so he buys up all this farmland.
He says the next pandemic crisis will be caused by climate change.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
No,
these people are just flat out nuts, aren't they?
Exactly.
They're certifiably insane people. Apart from his Asperger syndrome,
right?
Bill Gates is sociopath.
Yeah,
he doesn't come across that way.
Yeah,
but he is.
He regrets hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah,
that was a mistake.
Yeah, everybody makes mistakes.
Hey, welcome back. It's Talking Truth to Power. I'm your host, Bernard Trainor. I'm here with Leland Faegre. And we were talking about the inflation and the gas situation.
It's gone up a dime overnight.
Overnight?
Yep.
Another dime?
Another dime.
I mean, you've got to...
Right now, of course, we have the Putin price hike.
Yeah, that's what Nancy thinks. But it's really more like the Zelensky price hike. That's what I would call it.
Was that Paul Polinsky?
Also.
What?
Was that Speaker Pelosi's husband that we...
Oh yeah, well he had he was overgassed. He was a little too much gas.
Paul Pelosi.
Yeah. You know, it's too bad he wrecked his Porsche driving out to his vineyard in Napa.
Is that where he was headed?
Yeah. Yeah. We should all have these problems. I mean, it's a terrible shock to
you
the
think
Pelosi's.
The grapes would cushion the blow, wouldn't you?
Yeah. So Biden, Brandon wants us all to be all electric. We're in a period of transition. Well, that's just like with our Admiral Levine says. A lot of children are in a period of transition too. We got to give them the care they need.
We meaning the state.
Yeah, the state. You know, we got to make sure they transition.
Had the tobacco industry been immune?
Yeah, imagine.
So while Biden is transitioning all over the place, the American people are suffering from the continuing high gas prices.
And that affects everything because everything travels.
Oh yeah,
So
they might destroy the trucking industry. Then what are they going to do? You know, if we see shortages all over the place in the fall, I think that a lot of people are saying that can happen.
Well, I think they're bringing us to our knees.
Yeah,
because they're running out of time to do so.
And so, what are we going to have to give up in order to get off our knees? That's the question.
Yeah, right. I mean, did you see there was another chicken farm that was set alight in Minnesota? I mean, they're actually setting fire.
Oh yeah,
to food manufacturing and distribution points in the United States because they want to starve us out of our kitchens.
Yeah,
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Yeah, whatever that was.
You mean like Russia? The Holodomor, where Russia caused the famine in the Ukraine?
Yeah.
Sort of like that? Worldwide famine.
That kind of thing.
Sure. And reduce population.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's,
that's what Klaus wants to do.
God knows human beings are the problem.
Yeah, we are the problem.
Yeah, so the thing is that Russia is not at all disturbed by the EU sanctions. They're going to... I think what the plan is, they're going to give some oil to Hungary and Slovakia and Czechoslovakia because they're completely landlocked there.
Yeah, the European Union has consented to that.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then, the gas for rubles.
Yeah.
And you know why that gas for rubles came about? Because the European Union seized untold billions of Russian assets in Europe. Mm-hmm. The figures differ from 100 billion to 300 billion in that area. But at any rate, they seized a lot of Russia's assets. So if we accept the euro from you can seize those euros, and then we'll be giving you gas for free. So they're not going to do that.
And raising the value of the ruble.
Raising the value of the euro. So now they have to pay in rubles. But the European Union said, okay, you can open the account with Gazprom Bank and you can pay them in euros, and then you can issue a statement that says this transaction is finished.
Yeah, that's it.
And meanwhile, of course, your euros are being converted to rubles before it buys the gas.
It's not as though Trump didn't warn them.
Yes, I know.
You can hate him all you want, but he's been right about everything.
So if Finland and Sweden join NATO, they're going to reduce their defense budget. Mm-hmm. Because we're going to be picking up the tab.
Well,
because we subsidize NATO.
They're subsidizing those brooms that they train with.
Yes. They need to buy more brooms.
More brooms?
It's going to take a bigger broom.
For their NATO training.
Welcome to the world,
Joe.
You having a good time, Joe?
Well, apparently he's not having a good time.
No.
By all accounts, he's frustrated, and who can blame him?
Exactly.
Somebody put him into this situation, or he allowed himself to be put
into it. Or, whichever way your conspiracy-minded little mind thinks, whether he got bubbled into it or somebody bubbled him into it.
Here's the deal, Joe. It's your turn, but this is the way it's going to play out. You want to do this? Are you in? That's kind of how it was explained to him.
Yes.
That's how it was explained to him. And he went for it.
Yeah, you could be president. Your name will be in the history books.
That's right.
Right up there with James Buchanan.
Right.
As the worst president.
That's the worst.
And poor Dr. Jill, she just kept saying, vote for my husband. I know he's not perfect, but he's a good man. Vote for him.
Yeah.
And then how is she going to feel after being first lady for the worst president in the history of America?
I think she's already feeling that.
Yes.
She must be, yeah.
Yeah. If we survive, if they don't actually push us over the edge.
If there's an election.
Yeah.
Did you see this past week there was a release of some of the emergency measures that the U.S. government would take given certain circumstances?
Uh-huh.
Did you see that? We've been talking about this on the show.
Right.
Isn't that interesting that it surfaced this week in press accounts?
Right.
Some of these extreme measures that the federal government could take in the event of a crisis.
Like if the Russians come?
That sort of thing.
If the Russians are coming, yeah.
A suspension of elections.
Right.
How else are they going to get through November without a suspension of elections?
It can't happen here.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
We're too good for that kind of stuff.
That doesn't happen in America.
No. So speaking of worrying about his future, for the first time we're hearing rumors that things are going so badly in the Ukraine that there could be a military coup if, as expected, Russia completely takes over the Donbass and we see mass surrender of Ukrainian troops. There's a General Valery Zaluzny. I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right, but I tried. He's commander-in-chief of the Ukrainian Armed Forces, and he is reported to have argued because President Goldberg of Ukraine, he insists that the troops must stand and fight, no retreat. And they're getting ground up.
To the last man.
Yeah. Zelensky admits 100 killed and 500 wounded each day. It's probably 4 or 5 times that, according to the Russians.
Well, they're surrounded now in the Donbass, aren't they?
Yeah, they're being surrounded. There's all these little cauldrons being formed. And there are some YouTube stations that will show you the map in detail on a daily basis. One is called Defense Politics Asia. That's the way they say their name, but they're in English, but it's a Chinese speaker, so it's a little bit of hard. And there's another good one, Military something, that's in the same vein. But they can show you exactly how the cauldrons are forming and exactly, for example, the Ukrainians tried a counterattack in Kherson in southern Ukraine, just north of Crimea. The Russians are not pushing there yet. They're holding that area to keep the Ukrainians held up there, so they won't go to the Donbass. They're threatening Odessa from there. But the Ukrainians tried a counterattack over the last few days, and they got into the Russian territory a little bit, and then they were driven right out again, just like in the Kharkiv. They pushed the Russian, again, that's not an area where there's a lot of Russian troops. That's not the main battleground, but they're trying to get PR. They're trying to get good press. They pushed the Russians and even...
It really is all about just press relations.
That's it. The Zelensky government is a PR firm. It's a propaganda.
And we essentially laid out his playbook.
In the Russian military playbook, that's straight out of their playbook.
Putin's following a well-known playbook.
It's the Russian playbook.
This is right out of the Russian playbook.
Again, we've seen Putin's Syria playbook, Russian disinformation playbook.
Biden responds, cyber attacks are part of the Russian playbook.
And so now they have resorted to the typical Russian playbook. This is a classic page out of a dictator's playbook.
Something that we see is in the playbook of Russia right now.
Like a page from Russia's playbook.
I got it on my computer, that playbook. I downloaded it.
Yeah, what chapter are we on now?
I don't know. I did hear where the Azov swastikas have come off the uniforms. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah, another PR move.
Yeah, another public relations stunt.
Zelensky ordered the Azov battalion, the survivors, the ones that weren't killed or captured in Mariupol, to get rid of their Wolfsangel or Wolfsangel. It looks like a psychedelic swastika, like a distorted swastika. They have to get rid of that now and put on the Ukrainian symbol, which is a trident. So
it's a kinder, gentler Azov.
Yeah, that's what it always was. I mean, the ADL approves them.
Kinder, gentler Nazism.
Yeah. They're just moderate Nazis. That's all they are.
That's all.
And the American people are paying them. They don't know. I mean,
1% of the national budget was sent over there.
Really, you can't.
National budget. You
could take off an arm patch on a uniform, but you can't get rid of all those swastika tattoos that these guys have all over their bodies.
Yeah,
that'll be a little harder to do. Okay, welcome back to Talking Truth to Power. Reno's Freedom Talk Radio, going out to Nevada and the world.
Northern California.
And
we're on 93.7 FM now.
Yes, we are. And we also, our podcast appears on all podcast compatible
wherever you
sites.
find podcasts.
Exactly.
And that terrestrial signal is from the outskirts of Sacramento all the way through Winnemucca.
See that? You're on I-80?
Uh-huh.
Talking Truth to Power.
All the way. On Tuesday, the Ukrainian parliament removed Lyudmila Denisova, the parliament's commissioner for human rights, from her post. Mm-hmm. You see, her propaganda was just too much for even the Western media.
Was just too good.
Yeah. She had stories that you wouldn't believe that would be out of a dime novel about, rape everywhere. The Russians are raping, and they're and dogs are eating the bodies. And
maybe Stacey Abrams could take a clue from this, huh?
Yeah. Yes.
She got a lot more press than Stacey Abrams did with her books.
Yeah. But finally, even the Western press started to be skeptical, and they started to ask her to please back up some of these accusations with evidence. And
it was making them look bad.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous, some of the stuff that was coming out of there.
Another propaganda hit that was pretty much debunked, even by General Miley. Russia is not causing the global food shortage.
They're not?
No.
Okay.
No. It seems that Ukraine has been saying that the Russian blockade, they got Boris Johnson involved. He puffed up his chest and was talking about sending the Royal Navy to break blocks.
Saw that. Yeah.
What a fool he is. Now he thinks he's Admiral Hornblower.
But it was always sort of that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what they like about him over there, I think, to a certain extent.
Yeah. But he spends too much time playing. Doesn't he play with railroads or something? Or he builds little houses?
Electric trains and stuff?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. It's a little
or was
boy
that Pete Buttigieg? One of the two.
I think it's Boris Johnson. It's the little boy in him.
Yeah.
Him and his barber. It's one of those deals.
So it turns out it's not the Russian blockade, that they now have 2 humanitarian corridors where they guarantee the safety of ships trying to bring grain out from Ukraine. What really the problem is all these mines that Ukraine mined their offshore with. And a lot of these mines, due to storms and so on, have come loose, and they're floating around. They even got to Turkish waters, and Erdogan was very upset, Mm-hmm. So,
well, Erdogan is Putin's emissary in NATO. Let's be honest about it.
Yeah,
he represents Putin in NATO. So, so whatever he says is coming from Putin.
So he's making the big deal about Sweden and Finland entering NATO, that they have to get rid of all their people that they're giving refuge to from the Kurds, because Turkey considers the Kurds to be terrorists, the PKK and the YPK or whatever, Y2K. I don't know what they're, but he considers them to be terrorists, and he's also going to take advantage of Russia being involved in the Ukraine, or he thinks he will, to lop off a little more Syrian territory.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I'm seeing here is that he initiated that military event this morning.
Oh, he sent troops this morning?
Yeah, he sent troops this morning, yeah.
He's trying to, initially anyway, have a 30-mile, what he euphemistically calls a peace corridor.
Right.
30 miles right on the Syrian border over the territory that's held by the Kurds, the SDF.
Right.
And, you know, once he gets that 30-kilometer peace corridor set up, it might not become so peaceful.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he'd really like to get rid of the Kurds completely.
Mm-hmm.
So, and, you know, the Kurds, what the Kurds need to do, and which they don't want to do, is join Syria. They need to go to Bashar Assad, and he has offered them cultural autonomy, but not political autonomy. They have to be just like everybody else in the Syrian coalitions. They have to, you know, be just regular citizens. They're not going to have their own political autonomy, their own semi-autonomous territory up there in northern Syria, but they can have their cultural autonomy. They can teach Kurdish culture and language and everything in the schools.
But the optics there are not good.
No.
Embracing Assad.
Yeah.
From an ally of Putin, which is what Erdogan basically is.
Right. So they're going to have to decide whether to basically throw their lot in with Assad and Russia, who are, in fact, the internationally recognized, well, Assad is. Russia is in there by his invitation, but they are the he is the legitimate ruler, despite what everybody in the West likes to think. He is the legitimate ruler of the country. So they would either throw in with them or fight the Turks on their own and count on U.S. help. How much help are we going to give to them fighting another NATO?
Whatever
member?
It takes, because, you know, that NATO, the NATO part of the conscription or their commitment to NATO has been reduced. Every country has reduced its military component by troop strength and by military hardware, etc. So whatever's left, whatever that deficit is us.
Uh-huh. Yes, exactly. And it's all, again,
so
we've said it before.
To get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Yeah.
All their plans are heading down that rat hole there.
Well, Erdogan has described this effort as a major military operation. So.
Oh, a major military operation. So. It's not just a special military operation like Russia's.
No, exactly.
Well, I mean, you know, they keep talking about Ukraine, but Russia's got 15% of its armed forces involved in there.
Right.
You know, it's right on Russia's border. I mean, how possibly could they think that Ukraine would be able to beat Russia?
Well, here are the percentage changes of troop commitment to the NATO alliance. According to this chart here, Germany is now down 65%. Italy is down 65%. France is down 62%. Spain down 53%. The United Kingdom down 49%. So you get the idea.
Right.
You know, there's a lot less going on there than Americans would likely believe.
Sure.
Any commitment to any threat to the NATO alliance will be
we're supposed to
us.
Yeah, we're supposed to come in and save their bacon.
Yep.
And we're subsidizing them because you know, we're paying basically for all of that. They're all reduced, like you said, their equipment, their commitment to NATO. They reduce that and they spend the money on their woke social programs or whatever.
So
else
they have 6-week vacations.
And they
that's
give
what
their
it's all
people.
about.
Yeah, that's true too. So, and the plan for NATO is still the same. It's to keep America in. We shouldn't be that heavily involved in Europe. The founding fathers warned us against that over and over.
That kind of entanglement was not ever to be found in our future.
So NATO is about keeping America in, Germany down. Now that they have a leftist green regime in Germany, they're going to deindustrialize Germany to make it a green utopia.
Yeah, that's already happened, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's happening now. And so America in, Germany down, and Russia out. That's, Russia tried to join NATO, wanted to join NATO. Why shouldn't Russia be part of the European security arrangement? It could provide a lot more security than Finland.
Because we have to have an enemy to justify the military-industrial complex.
Exactly. All those big budgets.
Yep.
Most of this $40 billion, or a lot of it that we voted for Ukraine, is really just going to our military-industrial complex to make up for all the obsolete weapons we sent over to Ukraine.
And to heaven knows who.
Yeah.
Because those weapons are not accounted for. Once they arrive, if they arrive, they will not be.
No. And they really don't work. The Stinger anti-aircraft missiles worked for the first few weeks of the year. They haven't worked since. And because the Russian airplanes are just too good, they figured out how to evade them. The Switchblade drones, nobody that's studying this war can find a single videotape of one of these many drones we sent over there actually hitting a target. They haven't been able to find it because Russia has such good air defense. Well, we got to go.
We do?
I think so. Our time is up.
Well, this inflationary period?
Yeah.
It's just a period of transition.
I know. We're transitioning all the time. Our kids are all transitioning. We're transitioning.
Oh, man.